Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today we're going to be exploring some simple mods by replacing diodes 4 and 5 in a Boss DS-1 distortion pedal. Perhaps the most ubiquitous, most universally purchased and owned pedal of all time. Maybe the Tube Screamer's up there, but I think the DS-1 is perhaps the most popular pedal of all time, just as far as sheer sales. Now, people complain about them all the time, and that's why they're so modded, and so many people like to change them up. So anyway, what we're going to be starting with is with the pedal where it sits right now, which is pretty much stock. The diodes are stock, and then we're going to remove the diodes and take a listen to that after that mod, and then we're going to replace the diodes with LEDs. So we're going to have three different, versions of the pedal as we go through the video. So now let's go ahead and get started. I have the distortion currently on noon. I have the tone control on noon and the level all the way up. And I'm on the neck pickup of a Strat. We'll go ahead and take a listen to the same thing for each of the demonstrations. Let's go ahead and turn that up to 3 o'clock. And all the way up on the distortion. All right, so that's our starting point. Now I'm going to cut away, we'll go to the bench, and we'll work on getting those diodes out. All right, see you there. All right, so I have the back of the pedal open. I will put up a diagram of the, exactly where I am removing solder from the back here, and then I'll have another picture that just shows where the diodes are on the front when we pop them off. So I'm just using a wick here, this is a solder wick. Basically, you put this over the solder joint that you wish to remove. Then the heat from the soldering iron sucks that solder right into the wick, and then you're all set. I've already wicked this a little bit, so we're just going to go ahead and finish up here, and then hopefully we'll just be able to flip the pedal over and the circuit board over from the pedal and go ahead and just pop those diodes right out. I think that we have most of it gone. So we'll go ahead and like I said, I'll have a picture. Our diodes are just sitting right here. It's impossible for you to see on the camera, but I will have that picture up. And I should just be able to go in here and start gently with my little screwdriver here, getting ready to pop these guys out. Yep, that one just popped right out. At least that side did. I may have to go ahead and do a little bit more wicking there. But we have one diode removed, and I'm getting underneath this one, and it is loose on that side. So I'm almost there. I have the two sides removed. I think what I'm going to do now is I will go ahead, I'll take a picture of those two diodes with them up, and then I will just hit those two solder joints that are still connected there, and there's hardly any solder there, and I'll just clean it up, and we're going to come right back and take a listen now that those diodes are removed. I think it'll be of value to take a quick picture of these. All right, back in a sec. And here we are. The diodes are removed. I had some pictures going back there. I'll probably have some more pictures going now or somewhere in this part of the video that shows the diodes are completely removed. The method is very simple. You just wick the solder off the back of the circuit board, pop the diodes out, and they are gone. One thing I noticed right away is that when I plugged this pedal in and I had that level all the way up, it blasted out my microphone. So I've had to back the level off to noon. So we are now at noon on level. I'm going to go ahead and put our tone control back at noon as well. And we are at noon on the distortion. So let's take a quick listen, and we'll move through those distortion settings just like we did before. We'll start at noon, 3 o'clock, then all the way up. All right, 3 o'clock. And it's just huge how much more volume the thing has now. It's tremendous. All right, here we are at 3 o'clock. All right, and all the way up on the distortion. No question that just the pure removal of the diodes has changed the entire nature of the pedal tremendously. We could sit and toggle through the tone control and stuff like that, but I want to keep the video brief. So we're just going to keep that at the same setting all the way through. But I find this to be a very satisfying overdrive pedal now. Borderline distortion, but more of an overdrive now, and it has a lot more clarity and openness, which is something that I'm always looking for now in a distortion pedal. So, very interesting. Just removing the diodes altogether, you can transform this pedal into a completely different beast. Now, let's head back to the bench, install some LEDs, and then we'll come back and see what that sounds like right now. All right. So we've listened to it with the diodes removed altogether. Now I'm throwing some LEDs in, and it's super easy. I have the holes nice and clean, and you have to remove all the solder to make sure that when you're putting your new through hole components through, they go in clean. I've already put the first LED in. Now the real trick to diodes is that they need to be alternating. Positive, negative, negative, positive. So on this one, on my left here, I have the negative leg, and then on my right I have the positive leg. So now when I install this second LED, and there's a picture up of the first one already installed, I have to make sure that I orientate it so that this negative leg is going to be on my right and the positive leg will be to my left. Okay, there's the first leg in. This is a little fiddly. I debated on whether or not to do this on camera. Part of me is wondering if I shouldn't have, but we'll go ahead and see if we can get this through, because it is a little bit of a tight space. But look at that, we just slid it right in. I now have my two LEDs in, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bend those legs over to the sides so that I can have clean solder points for going ahead and getting this soldered in. And then, so there you have it. I've got my two LEDs are installed. They're alternating, positive and negatives, and they're through hole, poking out just fine. And all I've got to do now is drop 4 little drops of solder, cut the legs off, and we'll take a listen right now. And we're back. LEDs are in. We still have our volume control at noon because we still have the big volume boost that we got when we removed the diodes altogether. Now the LEDs are in. I've noticed there's a little bit less background noise on the pedal overall with the LEDs installed. So let's take a listen through our distortion sweep with the LEDs in place of the diodes. Let's go ahead and crank that up, our distortion up to 3 o'clock. We are still at noon on our tone. We have not messed with the tone this entire video, and that's kind of the point, is just to listen to what the diodes did. I'll tell you right away, the LEDs are my favorite so far, and I really am liking what I'm hearing here. Let's go ahead and crank the distortion all the way up. Still minimal background noise. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Just wanted to play that last little bit twice because the first time I screwed it up. But anyway, what's my takeaway from all of this? My takeaway is that by getting rid of the standard diodes and putting in LEDs, transforms this pedal. It is no longer a DS-1. It is an excellent overdrive pedal slash getting into that edge of being like a true distortion pedal, like a really, but it gets rid of that, you know, can of bees kind of sound, the fizziness. The pedal is really open now, I feel like, and just, you know, tonally, I feel like it's just a lot more musical. If we back that distortion off to around 2 o'clock for rhythm work, you know. I never would have been able to get away with playing like a minor chord like that with it in its original state. I feel like it has a lot more versatility, at least from my perspective. And you know, these pedals are so dirt cheap and so plentiful. It's a great place to start your modding journey as well. Just popping those 2 diodes out, replacing them with, you know, you could use LEDs, you can make a diode, clipping diodes out of old transistors. There's all sorts of things that you could put in there just to mess around and have a good time, or just cut them all together and see if you like that. I didn't like it so much, and I felt like it introduced a little bit of background noise. The LEDs are the sweet spot for me. Why don't we see where your sweet spot is when you crack one of these open and start replacing those diodes. Alright, if you watched the video to this point, please hit like and subscribe. Shares are greatly appreciated, and leave something in the comments. Is this a mod that you'd like to do? Is it a mod you've already done? And if it is, leave your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Alright, you take care, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.